We are now entering into week 15 of fantasy hockey. I feel like the season's gone by extremely fast this year, and let me know in the comment section below how your season has been and what your current record is. But for this video today, I'm going to be breaking down next week's schedule and players that I think you should be streaming, the priority forwards, defensemen, and obviously goalie streamers that will hopefully maximize your schedule and give you the best possible chance to win each and every week. My name's Mike, and let's jump into the video. This week's a little bit different in terms of scheduling. Monday and Tuesday are both busy nights, with Thursday and Saturday also being busy nights. So there's only 3 off nights to pick from. Typically, we want to be picking teams that have 4-game schedules and 4 off nights. That's not apparent this week at all. The Detroit Red Wings do have the best schedule with 3 games and 3 games on the off nights. So they're going to be my priority team for this week. But there are also 3 other teams that have 4 games this week with 2 off nights. The Islanders, Devils, and Minnesota. Each team does possess some solid streamers, with Detroit included. And then there's also some teams with 3 games and 2 off nights. If you're in the deeper leagues and you just can't really find players from the above 4 teams to pick from, the Carolina Hurricanes, Chicago Blackhawks, and Florida Panthers do have some solid stream options on their off nights. But these are the best schedules for this week, so let's go look at the worst schedules for this week. Jumping over to the worst schedule, there are 3 teams with 2 games this week: the Columbus Blue Jackets, Pittsburgh Penguins, and Winnipeg Jets. And then there are 11 teams this week with 3 games on the 3 busy nights: January 15th, 16th, 18th, and 20th. As I always say, if you've picked up players from these teams and you think they have long-term value, like the Winnipeg Jets, for example, Nikolai Ehlers or Gabe Vilardi, do not drop them just because there's a 2-game schedule this week. At the time of recording, just 36% of you are subscribed to the channel, so if you've enjoyed the content so far, make sure you subscribe to stay up to date with all the content that we're going to be pumping out for the rest of the season. In addition, we have updated our projections for the rest of the season. If you're interested in gaining access to that, head on over to our Patreon. The link will be in the description. If you have any questions, make sure you leave a comment in this video or simply message me on Discord. Let's jump back into the video, guys. Jumping in now to the bread and butter of this video, my priority forward streamers for this coming week. Starting off with David Perron, who is currently skating line 1, power play 1 for the Detroit Red Wings. He has left wing, right wing eligibility, which also gives you some flexibility in your lineups. And as I mentioned, they have 3 games this week, all 3 on the off nights. Perron is more of a shot volume, point getting forward, doesn't really add a lot of hits and doesn't really add a lot of blocks. But the opportunity to play on the top line with Larkin and on the top power play unit, which we now know that Detroit does have a power play 1A and a power play 1B, but still, he's playing power play minutes, he's playing top line minutes. Definitely a guy you want to be looking to prioritize this week. If he's not available, Lucas Raymond may be in the exact same position, just with a little less shot volume upside and a little bit more point upside. Still skating line 1, power play 1, same position, left wing, right wing eligible, with the exact same schedule as Perron. So definitely would be looking to prioritize Perron in this matchup. If not, I would be looking for Raymond if you're looking for a Detroit Red Wing streamer. Moving down the list to Dawson Mercer, someone I think does have long-term value, and it's great to see that he has a very favorable schedule this week, because if you added him on my video that came out Thursday, this is definitely a guy you want to be looking to add long-term until Jack Hughes is back in the lineup. He's been moved up to line 2, power play 1, playing over 17 to 19 minutes per night, exactly where you want to see a forward that you're looking to add. Center, right wing eligible, so he does give you some flexibility, and then a very favorable schedule this week. Lastly, Anders Lee, someone that does have a little bit more hit volume than all the other players on this list. He's left wing eligible only, so you got to be careful with the flexibility in that. 30% rostered, 2 off nights near the end of the week. So sometimes you like to be picking guys that have the Sunday games just to hopefully secure your matchup on the final day of the week. He's currently skating line 1, power play 2. The Islanders have been juggling their lineup like crazy, but these are my priority forward streamers for this coming week. The other forwards I'd be looking to stream, this is more of the deeper league options if the first 4 forwards that I mentioned are not available. Eric Holla of the New Jersey Devils, again with a lot of injuries to this team, some players are moving up the lineup and are getting a lot better opportunity. Eric Holla is one of them, left wing eligible, just 9% roster, skating line 1, power play 2. Playing huge minutes over the last little bit, and his shot volume has been pretty solid in that time. I do actually have a futures bet on Holla for 20 goals this season, and he's about halfway through the season. So hopefully this little stretch this week should hopefully add a couple more goals to his current stats. But like I said, very good matchup for the Devils. If Hull is not available and you still want to stream a Devil, Michael McLeod is another guy that's been moved up into a higher leverage role on line 2, playing pretty solid minutes, and he has pretty decent hit volume, not like some other players like Nick Delorier or Garnet Hathaway, who are guys that get you like 4 hits a night. But McLeod does actually have more hits than shots, 75 hits, 64 shots so far this season. So it will give you some upside in terms of hits compared to the other players, but just line 2 and no power play minutes. With JT Compher here, he's currently skating on the power play 1A in Detroit, and line 2 centering DeBrincat and Kane. Very solid line with Compher, point upside, and some shot volume. Not the best shot volume, but still there. And left wing, right wing eligible. Lastly, JG Pajot. This has to be the first fourth liner I've ever recommended. It's kind of interesting. He plays fourth line, but around 15 minutes per night. Pretty solid shot volume, pretty solid hit volume. If you're in face-off leagues, he's a very solid face-off win type of player. But there isn't much to like from the Islanders. They just really disperse their lineups, and their main scorers are Brock Nelson and Barzal, and other than that, and Horvat. And other than that, it kind of just diminishes throughout the lineup. But with Pajot here, pretty solid stream option at just 7% rostered. Now, the priority defenseman streams, Shane Gostisbehere is the first defenseman, currently skating pair 1, power play 1, playing pretty good minutes, around 20 per night right now for the Detroit Red Wings. Very good point upside defenseman with some shot volume and some block volume. 3-game schedule this week, very favorable. Brock Faber, a guy I do think could be a very, very solid long-term ad. His roster percentage for some reason is still under 40%. A very good shot and hit and block volume mix, as well as a now skate on power play 1, pair 1 with Kaprizov back in the lineup. It should only make Faber's long-term outlook better. I like him this week. Very favorable schedule. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that ownership go above 50% by the end of the week. Alexander Romanov, if you're looking for a guy to just give you some really good peripheral upside with the hits, blocks, and shots, someone I've recommended before as someone to add or someone to stream, Romanov is definitely the guy you want to be looking at. That's going to be giving you 20 plus minutes per night on the first pair for the New York Islanders. Lastly, Colin Miller. I want to get a guy from the New Jersey Devils, and I was hoping Nemec would have a lot better peripherals, but he just doesn't. Since Miller has returned, he has been pretty much hitting every single peripheral category. He's 0% rostered, so if you play in those 18, 20-man leagues, definitely a guy you want to be looking to pick up for this coming week with a 4-game schedule to hopefully give you some decent shot, block, and hit volume. The last part of the video, goalie streamers. This is arguably the best way I play matchups. I really like streaming goalies in leagues that have about 4 matchups only, because I feel like there's a little bit more upside if they have a really strong game. It's 15 plus points in a points league. But if you're in a categories league, totally understand not streaming goalies. It's a lot more risky. But right here, Lucas Dostal, I like to pick against the San Jose Sharks. Definitely a team that just, they average 2 goals per game right now this season. And it looks like Dostal should be getting the first half of the back-to-back, and then Gibson will be playing against the Rangers. Something you definitely want to be watching. But if Dostal does play the first half of the back-to-back, they're on the road, which is not really the road because it's in the West Coast right near them in San Jose. Just 9% rostered for Dostal. Definitely someone you want to be keeping an eye on late in the week. And then the next night on the second half of their back-to-back, Jonathan Quick should be starting for the Rangers at Anaheim. Again, 47% rostered for Quick, so he may not be available, but he is still a streamer in a lot of leagues, so hopefully you can scoop him up. And lastly, Jonas Johansson, someone who was a first half beast when Vasilevsky was injured. Just 15% rostered. It looks like he will be starting in the second half of the back-to-back at Detroit. Now, Detroit does have a pretty solid offense, and they are good at home, so you want to be a little bit more cautious with this pickup. But I do like Tampa's defense, and the fact that Johansson has actually been pretty solid this season compared to some of the other goalies that you may be looking to stream. But Quick and Dostal, Johansson, all solid streamer goalies for this coming week, and goalies I'd be looking to prioritize to pick up. That will do it for the Week 15 preview. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video.